It was definitely a first for me, and, well, I learned a lot. Yes, that's right, I am talking about filming on site away from my studio. The only other time I posted a video on my channel that wasn't from this studio, it was actually being a guest in someone else's, the incredible Tom Buck. Since getting the Rodecaster video, I have wanted to try recording an interview using the auto switching feature, and I wanted to try a portable setup. So, knowing that I'd be running a workshop at Ecamm's Creator Camp event, I thought this would be the ideal time for this test, right? Well, you know those expectations versus reality memes? Let's just say that my experience was kind of like that. I have witnessed some on site filming, like watching a live stream from the floor of the NAB show. Seasoned creators with all the gear, and of course, the gear that carries the gear and all the small pouches. It's pretty slick. Yeah, my experience didn't look like that. And I will show you what actually happened and what it looked like. But here was my original plan, my expectations, if you will. Bring two Sony cameras, two Shure mics, two small tripods, cables, and of course the Rodecaster video. I also checked in with staff in advance, asking if I could do the filming on site, and then just checking just in case they had any backup equipment like extension cables or mic stands. Did all of that in advance. I envisioned that I would record the day before the conference started because I was going to be in town a day early. So here's what actually happened instead, compared to what I envisioned. First, packing the gear. You know those perfect gear backpacks? I don't have one. And this filming on the road thing, this is an experiment. So I found a large tote with lots of pouches. Okay, fine. It's a diaper bag. Don't ask. All right? Then I scrounged up some old free with gift of purchase bags that I've collected over the years and just never thrown out. I use those to organize the cameras and the Rodecaster video cables. And of course, I use some good old bubble wrap to protect the console itself. Once I arrived, it finally dawned on me just how inconvenient it would actually be to record the day before an event when all the staff are doing the final preparations. So that meant that I would be filming during the event, and it would mean a quick setup, record, and teardown during one of the lunch breaks. I also decided that I would film without borrowing any equipment from Ecamm unless absolutely necessary, like an extension cord. That's if I needed it. On filming day, I did end up borrowing some gear from a couple of friends. Turns out my collapsible tripod, it holds up a phone. It does not hold up a Sony camera. So my friend Jill loaned me her tripod. And since I didn't bring mic stands, my friend Mary Lou let me borrow her Rode wireless mics that connected really smoothly with the Rodecaster video, and she helped me set them up. With limited time to record, I focused on getting everything connected and not at all on cable management. It was kind of a hot mess, if I'm being honest. My guest, Andy Carluccio, was very helpful and helped me adjust the camera positions and get the white balance right. Then we set up the three scenes on the console. So one with both of us, one with just Andy, and then one with just me, which was actually a zoomed in version of the camera that was showing both of us. Finally, we set up the auto switching feature to map the microphones to the specific scenes. Got it all ready. After a quick test recording, we watched it back, hit record, and did the interview full through. As soon as we wrapped up, it was time to put everything back as quickly as possible so that the room could go back into workshop mode. Now, although it was quick, I definitely learned a lot. For the first attempt of recording outside of my home studio, being pressed for time, and then trying the auto switcher for the very first time ever, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And also, I got to learn all the things that I would definitely change, like the cameras. I would have loved to have a third camera instead of a zoomed in scene. The quality loss, it was so obvious, and personally, I found it kind of distracting as a viewer. Now, the comments on some recent YouTube videos, and also thanks to the folks at Rode, I learned that you can get a clean camera output from your phone if you use an app like Filmic Pro or Blackmagic Cam. So I added those to my phone, but I didn't actually bring my HDMI to Lightning adapter because I did not expect to use my phone. I also would have spent more time on the camera setup, maybe preparing these settings in advance, and then being more deliberate in the room with where those cameras were placed. Plus, I'd pay more attention to the smaller details when watching back the test recording, like noticing that my lavalier cable was visible throughout the entire interview. Next is audio. Wireless, definitely the way to go. After getting set up with proper mic stands and positioning and all of that, that would have taken a lot more time. And it would have been more for me to actually carry if I was responsible for bringing my own. And I'm glad that I didn't borrow from Ecamm during a really busy event. The wireless mics, they just have so much more flexibility, especially if you are doing interviews and recording and have multiple speakers. Finally, the auto switching feature. It was fun to check out the auto switching. I probably, though, would have tested it more in advance, especially the sensitivity levels. Because we were positioned beside each other, there were times when I wasn't speaking, but the camera showed me anyway. Let's just say it's kind of awkward when I was editing to watch back just footage of my face, just listening to someone give their answer. Not exactly what I was going for. And the auto switching, it is an impressive feature, and it gave me a really good starting point for editing that final version, even though I did make plenty of changes. But luckily, having all of those isolated videos that were all lined up at the exact same time, it made editing so easy. Aside from the technical things that I would change, I also learned one more powerful lesson. Or it might be better to call it a powerful reminder. You see, if I'm being completely honest with you, and right now I am, I almost gave up. On day one of the event, I could hear the thoughts crossing my mind. Maybe this is too complicated. Maybe you're too pressed for time. There's a lot going on this week. And sure, you carried all of this gear here, but maybe you're expecting too much from yourself. I knew that the short timeline and this lack of experience of mine was causing my hesitation. And I thought of all the stress that I could just avoid if I just didn't do it. And as you can see, I clearly didn't talk myself out of it. Oh, but I was so close. So close. So, what's the powerful reminder part? Well, once I got over that initial hesitation and I just did it anyway, I learned way more, way faster through experiencing it for myself. When it comes to tech, I've watched so many others spend so much time learning before they ever try themselves. And sure, you learn a lot from others. Hopefully, you're learning something from me telling you my story right now. But hands on experience is priceless. Even if the production failed miserably and I never shared the interview, I still would have learned so much in a short amount of time. So I'm incredibly relieved that I did not get in my own way and I didn't let fear keep me from experiencing those things. And maybe if you have been thinking of doing something similar, maybe you'll trust me when I encourage you to just give it a try. The more experience you get, the more you'll be able to run professional, engaging, and seamless virtual presentations.